It is day 10. And the reason every time I start a video, I immediately start laughing, it's because my eye moves off to the side and I see my own face. And I immediately start laughing at myself. Today, we're Sisyphus. We're Atlas, Prometheus, Shiva, Pangu, any mythological figure known for carrying a heavy burden. That's us today. Slept about 5 hours, which is to be expected. Changing my sleep schedule. It's just got to be this way. Suffering. Got not a long lift, but a lift ahead of us. Bench, heavy bench, volume squat, some assisted pull-ups probably. And then just a little bit on the bike, a couple miles on the bike. Nothing horrifying. Although my bench a few weeks ago was sketchy. I have faith in today, although, yeah, I feel atrocious. It's funny how hard it is to resist the snooze button when you don't have an immediate outside force pulling you. I mean, I've woken up at 5 a.m. for a job, despite the fact that the day before I had gone to sleep at 3. You have to do it. It's 2 hours of sleep. You feel atrocious, but the motivational force of not losing your job or doing your job poorly is generally enough, I think, to kind of like yank you out of bed. But when you're relying entirely on your own convictions, and for all intents and purposes, you could stay in bed for 10 hours on this day, it's harder to listen to your alarm. But you got to think of it like hitting the snooze button. If the first thing you do is hit the snooze button, it's like you're beginning your day by telling yourself you don't have you don't believe enough in your own convictions. You know, you're betraying the promises you made the night before, like immediately the moment the day begins. Maybe that's a little dramatic, but that's kind of how I see it. It seems like a necessary part of the day to be able to wake up when you say you should, no matter the circumstances around you. Anyway, we're gonna get into the squat, into the bench. We're gonna survive. We're gonna live. Nothing bad's gonna happen. Like, comment, subscribe. What's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is you like, comment, and subscribe, and then you check back on the channel in 2 weeks, and I'm dead. No, I'm not dead. I'm not uploading anymore. And you go, well, that guy's still fat. What's the best thing that could happen? You check the channel every day, and I prove to you that this is not only a 10-day manic episode, but a many month-long state of mania, which would then presumably that would make up my personality then, because at a certain point the way you spend your days is of course the way you spend your life, and so that would mean my manic nature is in fact the constitution of my personality. That's something we're gonna have to discover together. Let's get to the lift and the lift review. All right, I have like a cut on my tongue. Is that nice? I can't stop like rubbing it on my tooth. You ever do that? All right, engaging stuff. This is the most flattering photo I could find of myself. Looking pretty sick, looking pretty in charge. Yeah, Jesus Christ. All right, squat, bench, 5 sets at 3, 150. Bench, never been something that's gone up very fast for me. Never been my, like, forte. Christ. Always been lower body exercise guy. But I'm fine with these. Yeah. The form needs work across the board. That was pretty cool, huh? The way I kicked out. I'm still doing that. It's very, like... I kind of feel like I don't feel the bench while I'm doing it. I feel the risk. I feel a sense that it may go wrong. It's heavy, but I don't feel like, I wish I felt like a real, tear across my chest, but I don't. I really don't. So to me, that indicates that I need to work on my form, but I could be wrong. It could just be the way bench feels for me. I don't feel it particularly in my arms. I don't feel it in my biceps or my triceps or something. I don't get home and I'm like, oh shit, it feels like I've been curling. So it's not like that. Yeah, I don't think the form is atrocious. I don't think it's terrible. I feel like maybe I'm not quite straight enough. My elbows are flaring out too much, maybe. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. But it didn't feel impossible. It didn't feel like I couldn't do it. They didn't feel risky, really. They didn't feel like I was going to, scalp myself. God only knows what I'm thinking about when I sit there. Nothing good. Nothing good is going on in my mind. I'm thinking, don't look at anyone. Don't let anyone think you're looking at them. Don't wind up on an Instagram reel about how you were looking at somebody. Don't let that happen. That's the fear that's going on in my head. I'm going, no, I'm looking nowhere. I can't see in front of me. I can't see anywhere. What am I saying? All right, come on there, buddy. Come on. I keep checking. I have this like neurotic sensation when I get into this position that like my pants are completely ripped open in the center. It's, the brain is not a high functioning one that I carry. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Let me go back. Yeah, it's hard for me to like really be furious about that. But I do think I need to work on the form quite a bit. Yeah, I just got to research more. You just got to look at more. It's not hurting me, but I'm not, and I am getting stronger, but I'm not feeling much outside of like the general sensation that my arms could collapse or something. So I do need to, consider something. This last set here, I know I did 4. I wanted to prove to myself that I could get an extra rep in there without a spotter. It's like, prove that to who? Why? But that's what my mindset was at the time. Sorry, the lighting, dear God. Surely I could make that go away if I even tried a little bit. But light squats, volume. Today, these were sketchier than my bench. Yeah. Why? I felt that each of these 3 sets felt completely differently. None of them felt undoable. I mean, 95 pounds is very little. But I really need to focus on unifying the method of which I use to squat low. Sometimes I felt like my hips were dropping first. Sometimes I felt like I was bending at the knees first. In my last set, you'll notice I get a little weird, and that's because I started to feel a little weird in my left knee. I kind of still do. Not a direct injury sensation. There was no sudden, occurrence of pain. But there is an instability and a weakness I felt abruptly or gradually in my left knee while doing these, which is why I'm doing such low weight volume squats. I'm just trying to feel stable and go through the motion itself. So another thing to keep an eye on for next time and think about. I didn't feel anything of this I didn't feel anything like this last time I squatted, when I squatted heavier. But I'm a little inconsistent with how low I go. I always go low enough, but sometimes I go significantly lower. Yeah, I'm not running my back or anything, but it's just the order of my hinge is all over the place. And it could just be my where my head was at. I wasn't thinking about it enough, but this is the last set here. I wonder if you could see where I start to feel funny. No, I'm keeping it cool. But I felt a sense of instability in that left side. And I'm always trying not to dominate the squat with my thighs, with like my good side. Like just grinding my right leg into the squat, which is how I have always compensated for really heavy squats back in the day. It was doable. It was done. It's hard to really freak out about it. But that's the weird part of today's lift, for sure, was the sensation in my knee. Assisted pull-ups are like a favorite of mine. I love them. I used to be good at doing pull-ups, like bodyweight pull-ups. It was always like it was such an indicator to me when I was younger, when I had first lost weight, like that I was just such a completely different person from it was hard to comprehend. When you grow up hundreds of pounds, like well over 100 pounds overweight, the idea of lifting your own body, like just with your arms, is absurd. So there'd come a time where I'd lost enough weight where I could just walk around and bang pull-ups out. Not 100, but a dozen of them, which was crazy to me. And I think the reason I was able to do them relatively well, and probably the best way to like become really efficient at them, so become severely overweight and do assisted pull-ups, and while you lose weight, the assist amount also goes down. So these two things are happening at the same time, and you become very good at pull-ups, right? Because you're pulling up a weight that you will inevitably be much less than. So I also don't know, like my rep range here is like my range of motion is embarrassing here. I was pretty done, which is good. I'm glad I got to that point of like physically feeling beat out, because there are many times where I lift and I don't really feel much afterward, and then I go, what am I doing? Like clearly this isn't enough. But lately it's the weight's starting to get there, and I'm attempting to move and go through it quick enough and like really with a harder sense of engagement when I'm doing everything. But these assisted pull-ups, as much as I love them, they felt terrible today. Like I squeeze them out, and I don't, you grab and you want to go all the way down. You really want to feel it at the greatest point of tension. I don't want to like pull myself up and then go like 40% and then pull myself. What's the fucking point? I really don't like the sense. I cursed. I told myself I wouldn't. I was like, maybe you could go one video without doing it, but should I bleep it? That's insane. Maybe I will. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Also, the camera's 200 feet away. Yeah, it's not nearly as good as it could be, and I feel that, and I felt that. And with this, you totally feel when you're really doing it, when you're really not. When you're really grabbing the right way, and your back is out, and you really feel it in your shoulders, and when you go all the way down, you feel the stretch and tension when you pull up. You can tell the difference between that kind of pull-up and the one where you're like going 60% down and like ripping yourself up and you're like, yeah, I did a pull-up. It's like, no, I didn't. I just try. I'm just going through the motions. So I'm not totally impressed with these. I don't know how the math adds up for an assisted pull-up. Like, is a 76-pound assist, is it like I'm doing a pull-up as though I were 76 pounds lighter? Which, presuming I'm like 215 right now, 216. Assuming, would this be like if I were 115 pounds, or 115, dear God, 150 pounds and doing pull-ups? Is that like what I'm doing? I don't know how well that math adds up, because there are other things that like the machine itself is compensating for, I think, just by standing on it. But what am I, I'm deep in thought here. There's nothing good in there. There's nothing good. How did I become this? How did I get here? Why did I do this? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm in so much pain. I'm crying out in pain. I don't know what could I be thinking of? I'm not listening to anything. Sometimes I do, but I'm not here. I'm not listening. I'm just staring out like a soldier that's been left behind. And I'm at the top of a high cliff, and I see my regiment far in the distance, and I'm looking out and I'm like, well, that ship sailed. I got nowhere to go. That's what I'm doing right now while I sit here to do 3 reps of an assisted pull-up. Let's speed this up a little. How's the form here? Let's take a gander. Yeah, you see that? Like I barely get all the way to the top before I drop it there. That's rough. Another minute or two goes by. Let's see the last set. It's going to be grim. It's going to be grim, ain't it? First one was okay. Yeah, I gave up. That's giving up. I'm also like, when you're using the assist machine and you start to like kind of curve your body in a way, that's always like you're dodging the actual weight. you're starting to yank, you're pulling because it's a machine, you have to be on such a tight track to get the effects of it, and just moving in and out of that just completely ruins the whole thing. Gotta improve there, right? And here, once again, it's just an image of the fact that I did 3 miles on the bike. I'm not recording myself on the bike. It's insane. There's nowhere to put the camera. Also, there's like 90 women around on their bikes. It's just, I'm not doing it. I don't know who I'm arguing with, but it's not going to happen. Fine. A fine day. This is Da Vinci Resolve. I didn't mean to show you this. Here. So that's it. That's what we got today. That's what we got. Having a lot of thoughts lately. Feeling a lot of things, you know? Making these videos every day is absurd. It's outlandish. I oscillate between the sensation that what I'm doing is a tremendous waste of time, and I'm like, why would you do this? But I feel that way in general about most things I do. I believe it or not, have brutally high standards. And I think that one of the reasons I have thrown myself into this in such a way is that it is forcing me to at least adapt to the requirements, and through that inevitably improve at probably a rapid pace. But the issue I'm having right now is also the nature of the videos themselves. First 10 days, first 10 videos, I'm allowed to pontificate upon the purpose of what I'm doing at length, I think, for now. But the whole fitness thing is a rough niche, right? Because that's what this is. That's how many YouTube videos can I watch where they talk about how you have to find your niche and yada yada. And realistically, my interests are too diverse to be entirely shoved into a niche. And I only think I'm capable really of being myself and selling myself as who I am, which I think is a relatively like egotistical position to take. Let me adjust myself. So I think all you can do is like, all I can do rather at the moment is continue to pump these out just for the sick reality that I can't quit doing something I told myself I would do. Or how about more accurately, I wouldn't survive another failure. I wouldn't survive another betrayal of my own intentions. It's just been too many, too often, for too long. But it is a bit of a pigeonhole, isn't it? Right? If you look long down the line. I have a lot of thoughts about what else I would like to do. But it's, you know, now I'm rambling. That's the video. That's the video today. It was a good lift. I didn't drop the bar on my head. I didn't blow my knee out. And I did wake up on time. Day 10.